Top 8 Rare United States Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coins worth thousands of dollars. Welcome back, everyone. Today we are counting down some of the most valuable old Lincoln Memorial pennies ever found in very fine condition. These small 1-cent coins may look ordinary, but certain rare dates and mint errors have sold for huge prices in auctions across America. Collectors are constantly searching for these hidden treasures because a single penny could be worth far more than its face value. From famous double dies to rare mint mistakes and low mintage coins, this video is packed with incredible discoveries that every coin hunter should know about. Stay tuned, because one of these rare pennies could still be hiding in everyday pocket change right now. The first coin on our list is the 1972 Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coin in very fine condition. And this is where many collectors begin to understand how even common pennies can gain real attention in the numismatic world. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint in the United States during a period when billions of Lincoln cents were produced for everyday circulation. At first glance, it may seem like just another ordinary penny, but condition is everything in coin collecting, and that is where its importance begins to grow. In very fine condition, the 1972 Lincoln cent still shows strong and clear details. Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse remains well defined, with most of his facial features visible, including the hairlines, beard separation, and overall sharpness of the design. Although there may be light wear due to circulation, the coin still maintains a solid appearance that collectors appreciate. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial is clearly visible, with columns and architectural details still standing out without heavy fading. This level of preservation gives the coin a strong collectible appeal compared to heavily worn examples. Historically, the Lincoln Memorial Cent series represents a major chapter in United States coinage. Introduced in 1959, it replaced the wheat penny design and continued for decades, becoming one of the most widely used coins in American history. The 1972 issue is especially common in circulation, but most examples were spent heavily in daily transactions, meaning that higher-grade survivors are becoming increasingly harder to find today. When it comes to rarity, the standard 1972 penny is not rare in terms of mintage, but condition rarity plays a major role. Coins that survive in very fine or better condition attract strong attention from collectors who are trying to build complete high-quality sets. While circulated examples usually hold only face value, a well-preserved very fine specimen can bring a small premium in the collector market, sometimes reaching a few dollars depending on eye appeal and demand. In today's auction and collector market, most 1972 Lincoln cents are still very affordable. However, the real value comes from coins that show unusually strong strike quality, minimal damage, or interesting mint variations. These types of examples can stand out and sell for more than typical circulated coins, especially when included in certified coin sets. For collectors, the key lesson from the 1972 Lincoln cent is not just its monetary value, but its role in teaching grading, preservation, and patience. It shows how even a common coin can become interesting when studied carefully and kept in better condition. Many serious collectors start with coins like this before moving on to rarer Lincoln Memorial varieties. Overall, the 1972 Lincoln Memorial cent in very fine condition is not a high-value rarity, but it remains an important and respected piece in the world of coin collecting, representing history, everyday American currency, and the foundation of many valuable coin collections built today. The second coin on our list is the 1973 Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coin in very fine condition, and this is another interesting piece in the long history of the Lincoln penny series. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint and released into massive circulation across the United States during the early 1970s, a time when billions of Lincoln cents were produced for everyday use. Because of this extremely high mintage, the 1973 penny is considered a common coin in general, but condition plays a very important role in how collectors value it today. In very fine condition, the 1973 Lincoln cent shows solid and clear details that make it stand out from heavily worn examples. Abraham Lincoln's portrait remains strong on the obverse, with visible facial structure, hairlines, and defined edges that are still easy to observe. The coin may show light to moderate circulation wear, but it still retains enough detail to make it attractive for collectors who appreciate well-preserved circulated coins. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial design remains readable, with columns and architectural lines still visible without being completely faded. From a historical perspective, the 1973 D penny represents an important period in U.S. coin production when the demand for small change was extremely high. Millions of these coins entered circulation, meaning most examples were used heavily in commerce and eventually became worn or lost. That is why finding one in very fine condition today is not rare in terms of mintage, but still meaningful for collectors who focus on grading quality and eye appeal. When we talk about rarity, the 1973 D Lincoln cent is not considered a scarce coin. However, condition rarity is what matters in today's collector market. While most circulated examples have little to no premium value, coins that survive in very fine condition or better can attract slightly higher interest, especially from collectors assembling complete Lincoln Memorial sets. If the coin also shows strong strike quality or minimal surface marks, it becomes even more desirable within its category. In the current market, the 1973 D Lincoln cent usually has a very low monetary value in normal circulated condition, often just face value. However, in very fine condition, it can sometimes sell for a small premium depending on demand and overall appearance. Certified examples graded by professional grading services may also attract more attention in the collector market, especially if they are part of a high-quality set. For collectors, the importance of the 1973 D Lincoln cent is not just about its price, but about understanding how coin grading affects value. It teaches that even a very common coin can become more interesting when preserved in better condition. Many collectors use coins like this as stepping stones while building more advanced and valuable Lincoln cent collections. Overall, the 1973 D Lincoln Memorial penny in very fine condition is a strong example of a common coin that still holds collectible value through preservation and detail. While it is not a rare high-value coin, it plays an important role in the world of coin collecting and helps collectors appreciate the difference between ordinary circulation coins and well-preserved historical pieces. The next coin on our list is the 1981 D Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coin, and this example is in old and damaged condition, which is very common for coins of this era that stayed in long circulation. This penny was minted at the Denver Mint during a time when the United States was producing massive quantities of Lincoln cents for everyday use. Because of this high circulation, many 1981 D pennies did not survive in good condition, and most of them today show heavy wear, scratches, or environmental damage. In this old and damaged condition, the 1981 D Lincoln cent loses much of its original sharpness. Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front may appear heavily worn, with facial details like the beard, hair, and facial lines becoming weak or almost flat. The lettering around the coin, including "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," may also appear faded or partially smooth due to long-term handling. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial design often becomes difficult to see clearly, with columns and fine details blending into the surface of the coin. Historically, the 1981 D penny is not a rare issue because it was produced in very large numbers. However, coins in damaged condition tell a different kind of story. They represent real circulation history, coins that were used in shops, passed through thousands of hands, and carried in pockets for years. This kind of wear is a reminder of how important the penny was in daily American life during the early 1980s. From a collector's point of view, the value of a heavily damaged 1981 D Lincoln cent is usually extremely low. In most cases, it is worth only face value unless it has a rare mint error or unusual variety. Damage such as deep scratches, corrosion, discoloration, or bending significantly reduces its market appeal. Even in coin auctions, damaged examples rarely attract strong bids unless they have something very special about them. However, even though this coin is not valuable in monetary terms, it still has educational and historical importance. It helps collectors understand how condition affects value more than age alone. Many beginners in coin collecting learn that a coin does not become rare just because it is old. Preservation and rarity together determine true worth. Overall, the 1981 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny in old and damaged condition is a common circulation coin with low market value, but it remains an important example in the story of everyday American currency. It shows how even ordinary coins carry history, and how condition plays a major role in determining whether a penny is just change or a collectible treasure. The next coin on our list is the 1982 D. Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coin in normal and black condition. And this is a very interesting example because it shows how environmental factors can completely change the appearance of a coin over time. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint in 1982, a very important year in Lincoln cent history because it was the transition period when the U.S. Mint moved from mostly copper pennies to copper-plated zinc composition. Because of this change, coins from 1982 exist in different varieties, and many entered circulation in massive numbers. In this normal but blackened condition, the 1982 D penny has typically darkened due to oxidation, dirt buildup, moisture exposure, or long-term storage in poor environments. Instead of the original bright copper-red shine, the surface often appears dark brown or almost black, sometimes unevenly across the coin. This gives the penny a worn and aged look, even if the actual design details are still partially visible underneath the surface. On the obverse side, Abraham Lincoln's portrait may still be recognizable, but the details often appear softened or hidden under the dark tone. The lettering like Liberty and In God We Trust may still be readable, but not sharp. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial design is usually visible but heavily subdued by the dark surface color, making the columns and steps harder to distinguish clearly. From a rarity perspective, the 1982 D. Lincoln cent in blackened condition is not rare at all. In fact, it is quite common to find coins like this that have been exposed to air, moisture, or improper storage conditions. However, what makes it interesting for collectors is not rarity, but the visual transformation and the story behind the condition of the coin. In terms of market value, a 1982 D. Lincoln cent in normal circulated or blackened condition usually has very little monetary worth, often just face value. Even in coin collecting markets, these heavily toned or damaged coins do not attract high prices unless they show a rare mint error or unusual variety. Collectors generally prefer clean, well-preserved examples rather than dark or corroded surfaces. However, coins like this still play an important role in coin collecting education. They demonstrate how environment and handling can dramatically affect a coin's appearance and long-term preservation. Many collectors learn grading and preservation skills by comparing normal, damaged, and well-kept examples of the same coin type. Overall, the 1982 D. Lincoln Memorial penny in normal and black condition is a common circulation coin with no significant rarity or high value, but it remains a useful example of how time and environment can change the look of even the most ordinary penny. The next coin on our list is the 1995 D. Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coin in old and scratched condition. And this is another example of a very common circulation penny that has seen heavy everyday use over time. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint during the mid-1990s, a period when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents for regular commerce. Because of this massive production, the 1995 D penny is not rare in terms of mintage, but the condition in which it survives today plays a major role in how it is viewed by collectors. In this old and scratched condition, the 1995 D. Lincoln cent shows clear signs of long circulation and physical wear. The surface of the coin often contains multiple scratches, contact marks, and abrasions caused by years of handling, vending machines, pocket storage, and general use in everyday transactions. These marks can reduce the sharpness of the design and give the coin a rough, uneven appearance. On the obverse side, Abraham Lincoln's portrait is still identifiable, but many of the finer details such as hair strands, facial definition, and smooth background fields are usually affected by scratches and wear. The inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust remain visible, but may appear weakened or slightly damaged depending on the severity of the surface marks. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial design is still present, but the steps, columns, and architectural details often look softened or partially obscured due to surface abrasions. From a rarity standpoint, the 1995 D. Lincoln Memorial cent is not considered rare at all. It is one of the more common coins found in circulation and coin hoards. However, in coin collecting, condition is everything. While a scratched and worn example like this holds little to no premium value, it still represents a real piece of circulation history from the 1990s, when modern coinage was heavily used in everyday American life. In today's collector and auction market, a 1995 D. Lincoln cent in old and scratched condition typically has very low monetary value, usually close to face value unless it has a special mint error or unusual variety. Coins with heavy scratches are generally not sought after by serious collectors, as they prefer clean surfaces, strong strike quality, and minimal damage. However, even these lower-grade coins can sometimes be included in bulk collections or beginner coin sets. For collectors and beginners, this coin teaches an important lesson. Damage significantly reduces value, even if the coin is not rare. It shows how scratches and poor handling can affect a coin's appeal far more than its age or date. Many collectors learn grading standards by comparing coins like this with better preserved examples from the same series. Overall, the 1995 D. Lincoln Memorial penny in old and scratch condition is a very common circulation coin with minimal market value, but it still plays a useful role in understanding coin preservation, grading, and the importance of condition in the world of numismatics. The next coin on our list is the 2000 D. Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coin in normal old and black condition. And this is a modern-era penny that shows how quickly even newer coins can lose their original appearance when exposed to circulation and environmental damage. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint in the year 2000, during a period when the United States was still producing large quantities of Lincoln cents for everyday use. By this time, the coin composition had already changed to a copper-plated zinc core, which made coins more sensitive to corrosion and environmental staining compared to older solid copper cents. In this normal but blackened condition, the 2000 D penny typically appears dark brown or black due to oxidation, dirt accumulation, moisture exposure, or long-term storage in poor conditions. Instead of the original bright copper shine, the surface becomes dull and uneven, sometimes with patches of darker coloration that spread across both sides of the coin. On the obverse side, Abraham Lincoln's portrait is still visible, but many of the fine details may appear softened or hidden under the dark surface tone. The inscriptions such as Liberty and In God We Trust are usually readable, but not sharp or clean. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial design is still present, but the columns and steps often lose clarity due to the darkened surface layer, making the overall design less attractive to the eye. From a rarity perspective, the 2000 D. Lincoln cent is not rare at all. It was produced in extremely high numbers and remains very common in circulation even today. The blackened or toned condition is also not rare, as many coins become discolored due to environmental exposure over time. What makes this coin interesting is not scarcity, but the transformation in appearance caused by aging and handling. In terms of market value, a 2000 D. Lincoln cent in normal or blackened condition generally has no significant collectible value and is usually worth only face value unless it has a rare mint error or high-grade preservation. Coins with heavy discoloration are not in strong demand among serious collectors, who prefer clean, uncirculated, or well-preserved examples for their collections. However, this coin still has educational importance in the world of numismatics. It shows how modern coins can quickly lose their original mint luster, and how environmental factors like air, moisture, and storage conditions can affect even relatively new pennies. It also helps collectors understand that age alone does not determine value. Condition and rarity are the real factors that matter. Overall, the 2000 D. Lincoln Memorial penny in normal old and black condition is a very common modern coin with little market value, but it remains a useful example for understanding coin deterioration, environmental effects, and the importance of proper coin storage in preserving numismatic quality. The next coin on our list is the 2001 D. Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coin in normal old and black condition. And this is another modern-era penny that shows how everyday circulation and environmental exposure can quickly change the appearance of a coin, even within just a couple of decades. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint in 2001, during a time when Lincoln cents were still being produced in massive quantities for general circulation across the United States. Like most modern pennies, it was made with a copper-plated zinc composition, which makes it more prone to discoloration and surface damage compared to older solid copper cents. In this normal old and black condition, the 2001 D penny typically shows a darkened or blackened surface caused by oxidation, dirt buildup, moisture exposure, or long-term storage in less than ideal conditions. Instead of a bright copper shine, the coin develops a dull and uneven appearance, often with patches of dark brown or black tones spreading across both the obverse and reverse sides. On the obverse side, Abraham Lincoln's portrait is still identifiable, but many of the fine details become softened or partially hidden under the dark surface layer. The inscriptions like "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2001 usually remain readable, but the sharpness of the design is reduced. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial is still visible, but the columns, steps, and architectural details often appear faded or less distinct due to the heavy toning and wear. From a rarity standpoint, the 2001 D Lincoln cent is not considered rare in any way. It was produced in very large numbers and is still commonly found in circulation and old coin jars today. The blackened condition is also not rare, as many coins naturally darken over time when exposed to air, moisture, or improper storage environments. In terms of market value, a 2001 D Lincoln cent in normal circulated or blackened condition typically holds no significant premium and is usually worth face value unless it has a notable mint error or is in uncirculated condition. Heavily toned or darkened coins are generally less attractive to collectors, especially when compared to clean, bright, or certified high-grade examples. However, this coin still carries educational value for collectors and beginners. It demonstrates how modern coins can age quickly in appearance and how environmental conditions play a major role in coin preservation. It also reinforces an important collecting lesson. Value is not based on age alone, but on condition, rarity, and demand in the collector market. Overall, the 2001 D Lincoln Memorial penny in normal old and black condition is a very common modern circulation coin with little to no monetary value, but it remains a useful example of how time and environment can impact even the newest generations of U.S. pennies. The final coin on our list is the 2003 D Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coin in old and bad scratch condition. And this is a very common modern penny that shows heavy signs of long circulation and rough handling. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint in 2003 during a period when Lincoln cents were still being produced in huge quantities for everyday use across the United States. In this old and badly scratched condition, the surface of the coin is heavily marked with deep lines, abrasions, and contact damage caused by years of use in circulation. These scratches can come from coins rubbing against each other in pockets, being dropped on hard surfaces, or passing through machines. As a result, the original mint shine is completely lost, and the coin looks rough and heavily worn. On the obverse side, Abraham Lincoln's portrait is still recognizable, but the fine details are significantly reduced. The facial features such as hair strands, beard definition, and smooth background fields are often damaged or flattened due to the scratches. The inscriptions like "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" may still be visible, but they appear weak, uneven, or partially affected by surface damage. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial design is present but heavily affected by wear and scratching. The columns and steps are often difficult to distinguish clearly, and the overall design looks dull and aged. In many cases, the scratches make the coin appear rough and less visually appealing compared to better preserved examples. From a rarity perspective, the 2003 D Lincoln cent is not rare at all. It was produced in extremely large numbers and is still commonly found in circulation today. The heavily scratched condition is also not rare because modern coins are widely used and often damaged during everyday handling. In terms of market value, a 2003 D Lincoln cent in old and heavily scratched condition generally has no collectible premium and is usually worth only face value unless it has a rare mint error or exceptional variety. Coins with severe surface damage are typically not in demand among serious collectors, as they prefer clean surfaces, strong details, and higher-grade examples for their collections. However, Even this damaged coin has educational value. It clearly demonstrates how physical damage affects a coin's appearance and reduces its collectible appeal. It also helps new collectors understand the importance of coin care, storage, and grading when building a serious collection. Overall, the 2003 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny in old and bad scratch condition is a very common modern circulation coin with minimal market value. But it serves as a final reminder in this list that condition plays a major role in determining whether a coin is just everyday change or a valuable collectible piece. And that brings us to the end of today's countdown of the top 8 United States Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coins in old, very fine, and damaged conditions. As we've seen throughout this video, these small pennies may look simple and ordinary, but their value and importance in the coin collecting world can change dramatically based on condition, rarity, and collector demand. From well-preserved, very fine examples to heavily worn and scratched circulation coins, each piece tells a unique story of American history and everyday life. Some of these Lincoln Memorial cents are still worth only face value, while others in better condition or with special characteristics can bring surprising attention in the coin market. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting, because even the most common penny in your pocket could turn out to be something worth much more than expected. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to keep checking your old coins, coin jars, and collections, because hidden treasures are still being discovered every day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video with more rare coins and amazing finds from the world of numismatics.